if we secured our institutions and allowed more good guys with the guns. You can't take them away from the good guys and give them to the bad. The bad guys will always get the guns.
Cenk.
So, Jennifer, Australia just had its first shooting in 30 years, whereas we have had mass shootings at a rate of more than one a day. That is a massive difference.
The gun control debate reached a boiling point when the Young Turks host Cenk Uygur faced off against conservative commentator Jennifer Horn on CNN. The heated exchange over gun violence in America revealed sharp divisions that continue to dominate our national conversation. In this analysis, we'll break down the key moments from their CNN appearance, examine the arguments both sides presented, and explore what this debate reveals about the current state of gun policy discourse in America. Let's dive into the footage.
Just talking about this story out of Australia, the gun laws there, that, they have one shooting and then all of a sudden they change all the gun laws. Let's put up on the screen some of the gun laws that they are now thinking about getting rid of or changing. Speed up National Firearms Registry, enhance intelligence and background checks, limit number of guns a person can own, limit types of guns and modification. Meanwhile, we seem to have a mass shooting every other day. Background checks are at 90% approval rating. We haven't been able to pass that in a decade.
Yeah. So, first of all, there's something fundamentally broken about our government. So we can't pass almost anything that's popular. So in the case of gun control, it's actually not every other day. There's a mass shooting more than once a day. So far, I believe we've got 394 mass shootings this year alone, 75 school shootings this year alone. We're playing Russian roulette with our lives and our kids' lives. And it's remarkable that we're not doing anything about it, especially in a democracy. So to give you a sense of how popular some of these laws are, universal background checks are at 86%. Great majority of Republicans, great majority of gun owners want them. 80% for red flag laws. But yet we can't pass the bare minimum. And there's two reasons for that. One is the same as almost every the reason why every law doesn't pass, which is money in politics.
Right. So
the gun lobby totally owns the Republican Party, and they've got a death lock on them, if you will. And then the second reason is there is 20% of this country, which is a significant portion of the Republican Party, real voters who are adamant about this, and they will not let it go.
It is a voting issue for them. It is the one issue that they will vote on. Just like immigration is a voting issue for some people, healthcare is a voting issue for some people. Jennifer, there's a lot of issues that people talk about and complain about, but there aren't that many issues that are voting. This is the one thing.
Yeah, and it is that way. And I'd add actually one more thing to your list about why you can't get gun laws, and that is the Constitution, that pesky little thing, the Constitution. The Second Amendment gives us the right to have and bear arms. And I will tell you this, nobody wants to see these mass shootings, but if you need any instruction as to why gun laws don't work, look at Australia today. They have all the gun laws in the world, and yet the bad guys still get the guns. What could have stopped that situation is a well-armed police force. The good guy who we saw this guy who was a hero who went in and stopped the shooter. We need more of that in this country. Brown University may not be a story this week if indeed we had if we secured our institutions and allowed more good guys with the guns. You can't take them away from the good guys and give them to the bad. The bad guys will always get the guns.
Cenk.
So, Jennifer, Australia just had its first shooting in 30 years, whereas we have had mass shootings at a rate of more than one a day. That is a massive difference. That 100% proves that gun control works. And without gun control, we have massive amount of gun homicides, suicides. About 60,000 people a year die every year. So, they say freedom isn't free. Okay, but this price is a very high price to pay. 60,000 Americans dying every year through gun violence, when in countries like Japan and Australia, it almost never happens, decade after decade after decade. And look, the Second Amendment says whereas a militia is necessary. So we have no militia here. It definitely does not apply. I know that I'm not going to win that argument with the Supreme Court because they're right-wingers, and I don't believe that they're interpreting it correctly at all. No, it's plain English. It's absolutely plain English.
How do you respond to that, the statistics? That we have more shootings here in America because we have a lot more guns.
We have a lot more shootings in California, and California has very tight gun control compared to other states around the country. Look, my point is that it would be worse without the good guys armed to protect themselves, because if we want to start talking about all of the things that people could do wrong, look at the stories that we had today. You've had attacks with cars. You've had attacks. We had a terror plot that was just broken up with IEDs. What are you going to start doing? You cannot outlaw everything. What we have to do is protect ourselves. And protecting ourselves means that we have to make sure that good guys, people like you, people like me, people like Alex, can protect our home and can protect our families by having a firearm there for home.
One of the most common arguments in gun debates just surfaced again. The car comparison. If guns kill people, so do cars. Should we ban those too? Here's why this analogy falls apart under scrutiny. Cars are designed for transportation. Hammers build houses. Forks serve meals. Guns have one primary function: to shoot. That's the fundamental difference these comparisons ignore. But here's what's even more revealing. The regulatory double standard. The auto industry has embraced decades of safety innovations, seatbelts, airbags, crumple zones, without car enthusiasts claiming their rights are under attack. Yet propose any firearm safety measure, and it's framed as constitutional overreach. The Second Amendment itself references a well-regulated militia, a phrase often omitted from these debates. And we already accept weapon limitations. Automatic weapons are heavily restricted, a regulation the Supreme Court has upheld. So where's the line? That's the question many gun rights advocates struggle to answer consistently. Some argue for zero restrictions whatsoever, calling all regulation tyrannical, a position even most gun owners find extreme. The debate isn't really about cars. It's about whether we can have honest conversations about what well-regulated actually means.
Security.
Look, we're in a vicious cycle here because the more that there's gun shootings, the more people want to protect themselves by having more guns.
And every time we have a shooting, gun sales go up.
Exactly.
And
The gun lobby
makes a lot of money.
The gun lobby loves shootings. Okay, they love when bad guys get guns. That's why they're in favor of cop killer bullets. They're in favor of not allowing guns where you could actually have biometric readings.
But is there not some truth to what Jennifer is saying, that in that situation, wouldn't you have wanted a good guy to have a gun and take that guy out faster?
Well, first of all, we did have a good guy there at Ahmed Al-Ahmed, and he did not have a gun, and he was shot twice, and he still rushed the guy and took his weapon away from him, which was amazing and miraculous. But no, the problem is whenever there's a gun in the house, you're statistically more likely to get harmed. So through suicide, through accidents, through mistakes, you think you're safer, but you're actually not. But the more the guns there are, I get it. I get why people feel so nervous and uneasy. Well, if everybody else is armed, I'm the only one that's unarmed. It's a problem. But guys, we're living in this like post-apocalyptic world where now people have started telling me I'm not coming to America anymore. It's a shooting gallery. It's insane. It's going to America is like taking your life into your hands. The rest of the world cannot believe that we have more than one mass shooting per day on average, and we've had that for decades. Think about the 30 years where there was no mass shootings in Australia. Whereas we have had over 300 mass shootings every year. You do the math on that, and we're looking at about, 9,000 shootings more? How many more dead? Tens and tens of thousands. They have graveyards filled with dead bodies because of lack of gun control in this country. It's not the right direction, and every country has proven that.
To wrap up something on the more fun side, favorite Rob Reiner movie?
Oh, gosh. Stand By Me.
It's impossible because they're all so great, but I watched Princess Bride again with my kids the other day. God, I love that movie. And so I'm going to go Princess Bride.
Is it weird to say Misery 2 for an honorable mention? Because I loved it.
I think in this business, we love misery. All of us do in the political business. Jennifer, Cenk, thank you. A respectful conversation and one that a lot of people are having right now. We really appreciate it.
Here's where the debate gets interesting. The Australia argument. When Uygur cited America's mass shooting crisis, averaging one per day, Horn countered with Australia's recent mass shooting as proof gun laws don't work. But here's the critical context. That was Australia's first mass shooting in 3 decades, 30 years. Their 1996 gun reforms created the longest period without a mass shooting in the country's modern history. calling that a failure requires some creative math. What's particularly striking is the philosophical inconsistency here. On virtually every other policy issue, we don't accept "bad guys will be bad guys" as the final word. We don't respond to bank robberies by saying enforcement is pointless. We don't see traffic fatalities and declare safety measures futile. In fact, automotive deaths prove the opposite. Despite 40,000 annual traffic fatalities, we continuously innovate. Speed limits, seatbelt laws, DUI enforcement, vehicle safety standards. Nobody claims these measures infringe on their freedom to drive. The parallel is unavoidable. Sustained effort yields measurable results. Polling consistently shows overwhelming public support for stronger gun regulations, including among gun owners themselves. The question isn't whether Americans want action. It's whether that public will translate into policy. What's your take? Drop your perspective in the comments. And if this analysis added value, hit subscribe for more breakdowns of the debates shaping our national conversation.